Hello guys, in this video, we will look at the creation of such shot. We will have the interior plan. When I make some objects of interior, I always place all furniture needed for technical project in one separate file. It's necessary for the furniture objects and materials to combine with each other and according to color too. This is the geometry of our object. Specifically, this is whitewash or white card. These are corrections of a client. And this is a final image. So, let's start. This is how the final stage looks like. First thing you should always do is to check units of measurement. You can use meters in this object since it is small. We create a plan. Clear segments and parameters. Set resolution of our plan. Zoom out our screen to the entire workspace. Then drag and drop our plan. Now we need to scale it. Switch to the top view, turn off the grid, and create a box. Its length should be 900. This is the length of the doorway. Next, we select our plan, go to Hierarchy, and choose Effect Pivot Only. Select the Align tool and click on the box. Here we indicate all axes and their centers. Then click on Effect Pivot again. And zoom our image to the box. Delete the secondary box. Choose lines and outline the interior of the walls, the inside line of the walls, considering doorways and corners. We should put notes in the areas with corners. I press on one key to switch to points. Here I take centers of all selected objects and scale them, aligning all the points in one line. Extrude. The height will be 2700. If you forgot to put points somewhere, go back to Line, Refine, and put 2 points here. Edit Poly, choose Polygons. Delete our polygons creating the doorways. Choose the lower polygon. Go down and click on Detach. Here we choose Detach as Clone. Select the disconnected polygon and assign Floor Generator. Settings will be the following. Assign chamfer. We can delete the secondary plan. If we look on our floor now, it is turned away from us. It is face down. I exit the isolation mode and create a plan for the terrace. Since we're making it for one shot, it doesn't matter how far the back of the terrace is visible. Apply floor generator. Here we set 0 to make the tile even. To make it easier to work on, we need to be able to see through the building. We apply normal, which rotates the normals for that, object properties, and click on backface call. OK. Let's start. We create a TV commode, but check the auto grid first. The length of our TV commode is about 600 and height is 350. Apply Edit Poly. Select the edges and create 5 edges. Insert the box about 20 mm thick. And delete the axis. We create a countertop above. It protrudes beyond the edge a bit. Its height is about 10 centimeters. Create a block in the corner here. Its length is 1,600. Width is 2,700. And height is 600. Create another block at the entire height in this corner. You can create it with the help of Edit Poly, by the way. Its width is 1,200, thickness is 600. I press on 1. It's a hotkey for the point selection. Create additional segment to split our geometry in half. Create a box. This is our door. 20 mm. Hold Shift and drag it to make a copy. On the top view, we create a fence right here. To do that, we select Line and draw it right about here. And the rest part of the back of the terrace is not visible. Here I assign Edit Poly before Floor Generator. Select points and move them to the fence. Let's select the line of the fence. Go to Rendering. You must check these 2 boxes responsible for displaying in the workspace and on the render of our geometry. Go to Rectangular. Length 1,500 and width 180. Select all our objects by pressing Ctrl A. Then apply chamfer to all objects. It might take a while. We have to wait for chamfer to be applied to all objects. Set the amount of 2 mm in its settings. Set to segments. Every action may be accompanied by a slight delay. If that happens, you can try to apply chamfer to each object separately. Also check the Smooth Chambers Only box in the end. Don't forget to save your project. There already was a chamfer on this object, by the way, so we delete it from here, because we have the common one. You can also copy a chamfer, for example. Let's delete it now, and then right-click and paste instanced. The same thing you can do with several objects at once. By selecting them and pressing Paste Instanced. Now, let's upload the prepared furniture to the object. Import, Merge, All OK. Our furniture, our objects, have been added. We must put them in their place. Put the sliding door into the window frame. Assign FFD. I created this speed tree. It's invisible. It's standing on the left, giving us beautiful shadows on the floor and furniture when the sun passes through it. I press A to rotate it at the angle of 5 degrees and rotate it 180 degrees. If our furniture is raised or intersects the floor, press Alt-A, which are hotkeys for aligning, and click on our floor. Choose Z-axis, current object minimum, and target object maximum. OK. On the top view, we turn to the angle we need and put all the objects. They should be located like this. Next, we go to Render Settings and set the aspect ratio. Lock it. Let's create two views. I usually put camera here. Now there will be a camera on the left view and I have a perspective on the right. We set the frame. Press Shift F to see the resolution of the future render. Let's turn over the window. It's easier if we do it on the perspective. Our view is ready. Click on Create Corona Cam from Active Perspective View. I don't need Auto Grid now. On the top view, I will create cylinders to cut holes for lamps. Radius is 40, so diameter is 80. Cut the holes using Boolean. Launch Material Editor. Open Material Group Corona. Now we will make black marble material for our countertop on the TV commode. Assign material. Select TV commode. Apply UVW map. Bitmap fit. Implant the scale using our picture. Display texture. Click on box. I press 1 and scale the texture a bit. Exit the texture coordinates editing by pressing 1 and select the rest part of our TV commode. Apply material and use the following settings. The next material is our cupboard. We are reducing albedo to 0.8, reflection level is 0.5, and glossiness is 60%. We will apply wood on the door. The same wood we will use for the floor, our massive board. In order to do that, I will use a plugin from site Polygon, which allows to upload textures directly to the material. I talk about this site. You can download multiple textures from here. All of them are sufficient high quality. I often use this resource in my daily work. To use this plugin, you can find it on the official website as well. It's absolutely free. And after you download the material you need, go to the folder where you saved this material, these textures, and click on Select Folder. Click on this button and our material is loading. It's loaded successfully. Then select our doors and the floor and click on Apply Material. Go to the Perspective View, apply UVW map here, box. Press 1, turn, and scale the texture. Then select Floor, Apply, Unwrapping. Open Texture Coordinates Editor. Unwrapping will unwrap texture coordinates longer with Apply Chamfer. So, I suggest you put unwrap before chamfer. Select Polygons, Mapping, Flatten Mapping, uncheck Rotate Clusters box, assign a little bigger value in spacing and hit OK. Thus, each bar on the floor has its own place on the texture. We download the next material. It will be stucco. Download it. Choose the objects we want materials to be applied on. Exit the editing of any sub-objects, so we can choose next objects, and assign the material. The texture looks well here, but we need to re-edit it over here. Then, we upload tile material. Assign the material to the tile of the terrace. Assign Unwrap before chamfer. Press F2 to be able to see through the floor. Mapping, Flatten Mapping. Keep clusters rotation the way they are. Increase spacing value a bit and hit OK. Scale it proportionally with Ctrl held down. Go to Material Editor. Select the eyedropper. Click on our tile. Double-click on our material and assign the parameters we need. We have only one unassigned material left, the walls. I'll take the eyedropper and use this material. It looks good for it. Just apply it on the walls. Let's set the sun. Go to Create and set our sun at 45 degrees. In Settings, we assign 1/10 of intensity and the scale of the sun is 5. Press 8, open Material Editor, and press Add Corona Sky in Corona Sun. This sun we move to Material Editor. Then, we create a corrective knot. In Corona Sky, we assign 0.3 of intensity. And drag the corrective knot to our background. Next, we create 2 auxiliary light sources. Click on Corona Light. We will use a rectangle with auto grid here. We create it with ratio like this. Raise this Corona Light and point it at the ceiling. Copy it with Shift held down, instance OK. Turn it 180 degrees and put it on the other side. Intensity value is 1, directionality 0.5. Don't forget to save your project. And launch Interactive Render. In order to render the window, we need to choose the desired projection. We select the light sources and turn off Visible Directly parameter. In order for our render not to bounce between two projections, we select the projection with camera and lock it. On this tab, we can see masses on our render. So, in this case, I assign Edit Poly before chamfer and raise the upper part of our block. We get such a result at the moment, but this is a result without tone mapping. I would move furniture some more to make it look better in our composition. The next task is to set up our tone mapping. Let's make it a bit brighter. Get rid of overexposures. Add a little saturation. Vignette. Turn on curves. Turn on Lookup Table. And before the final render, we need to assign several render elements. These objects help in post-processing. And we launch the final render. This is how the final result looks like. Now let's look at what this post-processing consists of. First of all, it needs to be structured for ease of reference, especially if you work not alone, so that anyone on the team could open your post-processing and figure out where anything is. Let's look at what the visualization looked like before the post-processing. This is before and this is after. Our task is to select all objects to make them look more contrast. We must work with each object individually. I corrected the door, Added shadows here. The door was replaced. There are some curves now. I haven't changed light on the ceiling yet. This is our base. We can see what correction was carried out. We select each object the following way. I go to Mask Group. It's highlighted in red because it should be turned off. Green group are the working groups responsible for color change or color grading. It's desirable to make layers inside the folder in different colors. It is also for your convenience. So I go to the mask I need. We have wired color and masking ID. We can choose any object by colors. For example, I want to choose. I select masking ID in this case. Just by selecting the objects, we can see that it works quite well. But even with the layer turned off, we can select the required object in the same way. We selected the wall. I see that I also selected something I shouldn't. So I deselect the unwanted area with Alt held down. After that, I go to the required group. I will turn off the current adjustment layer now and create curves. When we have the selection, we will create a mask when creating curves. We can click here and assign the areas you want to contrast, brighten, or darken. And then we paint it over with the color we need. If we make a curve on whole picture, there will be overexposures, underexposures in some areas. But by working with each object individually, we get an even contrast. It makes our picture balanced. Then I add several layers. For example, the line here is barely visible. This is just a gradient. In order to highlight it, we should use soft light, blending mode. The same thing I made with the ceiling. You can see the result now. This flat surface on the countertop also merged with the rib. So I highlighted the upper part here as well. Next, we work with tone mapping. I merge all layers and discolor them. Blending mode. In this case, we assign 13% in screen opacity. And I added some curves. Pretty much the same here. Since the picture was rendered quickly, it was necessary to show the result quickly. There is some kind of noise on it. It's visible here. We can fix that using denoise. I use Topaz denoise. It's very strong. You can see the final result and before and after comparison. Then I added some extra layers. When I was modeling one of them very fast, for example, I didn't notice that doors go up to the ceiling. So I added a layer in Photoshop. I just drew the line here. It's also worth to get rid of this black line as well. It's my oversight. You can also create it in Photoshop without resorting to 3ds Max. Holes for the lights here. Looks quite flat. So, I just added glare inside. Here is a work with glare, and I have a grayscale group, just in case I need to find a lack of contrast or volume. This group is highlighted in red because it is temporary. So this is a final result, before and after. Guys, if you find this video interesting, subscribe to the channel, write in comments about the projects you are interested in, what videos you wish to see, interiors, exteriors, animation. I will also attach link to the file of this post-processing in the description of this video. Good luck and see you soon.